Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to my channel. Today, a topic that comes up so many times. Oh, I can't reach to the top shelf. I can't zip my bra. I can't prune my garden. I hear that all the time. And the fact is that if you maintain your shoulders well, if you keep moving them in all the range of movements, you probably won't get yourself into that state in the first place. So this video is about shoulder maintenance. And I suggest you do it either daily or at least a couple of times a week, and you're definitely going to see the difference. So here are my top 2 moves. You can do it seated in a chair, and the second movement you can do standing next to a wall. So you're gonna need some wall space for that one. If you haven't done it yet, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of my videos. Let's begin. The most important condition for doing any of the movements I'm going to show you is not to do them mechanically, like your routine without thinking, going through them very quickly. As the main point here is that you're really noticing what's happening within you. And you do these movements slowly and in a fluid way, all right? And one of the reasons why I'm going to show this movement separately for the right and the left side is exactly so that you see the difference between how your right shoulder might respond and how the left shoulder might respond. And so that you can focus your entire attention on just one at a time. So you can do it standing, you can do it seated. And let's say that we're going to start with the right shoulder. So it might seem very simple, but it really makes a difference if you go through those all these movements in a way I'm going to describe part by part. Okay, so the first movement you're gonna do is lifting your shoulder. And now there are many ways you can do it. You can lift your shoulder by lifting your arm or elbow. That's when it's gonna come up. But you want your arm to be completely relaxed, and that's very important because very often you're doing too much with your arm, and that is the root cause of your pain issues. So this is completely relaxed. It doesn't help you in any way. You're focusing on those bony landmarks of your shoulder you might feel, for your clavicle in front, for the top of your shoulder blade at the back. This is what interests you, and that is what is gonna lift. Come up, and rather than simply dropping it, you want to release it slowly and let it land wherever it wants. So you're not pushing it down or anything like that. You're lifting it and then releasing slowly, checking that you're not helping with the arm. It's only the shoulder movement. So this is the movement number 1, going upwards. Now there is the opposite movement, going downwards, as if you wanted to reach, but not with your hand, with your shoulder somewhere down towards the floor or to a deep pocket. So you're moving that shoulder down. As you can see, it's not my whole body going there. The torso stays. It's only the movement of the shoulder and only on one side, and then you release it. It comes back to its natural position, somewhere neutral. You're reaching down and you let it return. It might not be such a big movement as you can see in me, but it's definitely something that you can isolate. All right. Then we have 2 more directions. And if at any of this movement feels like very hard, take extra time to get there until you really know that you're doing it. Now we have also forward and backward movement. So the forward movement, again, is not something that you do with your torso. It's not twisting your entire torso. The torso stays as it is. And it's not something that you do with your arm, which again is relaxed. It comes from the shoulder itself, and it's as if that bone in front of the shoulder wanted to touch the collarbone. This is the movement. So you're gonna feel that everything is kind of contracted and squished here in front. And then you let it return to its neutral position. So it comes towards the collarbone and it releases to original position. And again, the other shoulder doesn't help you at all. It's not involved in it. It's relaxing now. You can repeat that a couple of times until you make sure that you're not confusing the movements, you're not adding other directions there. And then the last one is moving that shoulder backwards. So here again, like it's so easy to kind of start it with the arm, right? And the elbow leading. So you have this super loose arm, the arm doesn't help you, and it comes from the shoulder itself. And it might feel, or you could think of it as your shoulder blade trying to touch your spine. Again, it's the kind of effort of that movement. You might do it on the inhale if you want, and releasing it, coming back to that neutral position, the starting position. And you can try that a few times again until you're sure that your torso is not moving, that your arm is not moving. It really comes from the shoulder itself. And that might already be quite unfamiliar. You will feel that there's something very challenging about it. And in this case, stay with that for a good few days or maybe even a few weeks until you're perfectly comfortable with it. Once you're sure that you got all those 4 points, you can get to the next step, which would be joining them into a circle. So if you imagine that there's like a clock just hanging here on your on the side of your shoulder, you want to not only join those 4 points in like a straight line, but you really want to create a nice circle there. And there will be lots of moments. It doesn't matter if you start from the bottom, from top. I would say it makes more sense to go backwards, but you can try both backwards and forwards and see what is the difference and how your shoulder responds. So let's say we're starting from going up. So there's the up first, and then you're joining to back, down, and forward. And if it helps you to think of those digits on the clock face, it would be like 12, 3, 6, and 9. So you're going clockwise. You're not helping with the arm. You're not helping with any other part of the body. The rest of the body is relaxed. So it might slightly move, because if one part of the body moves, the others always respond, unless you freeze them. And what is interesting here is how smooth is this movement. Can you smooth it out more? If there's any moment where you feel like it's more like a straight line than a circle, or it's as if I'm overcoming some obstacle, or it feels a bit rusty, go slowly, go slower through that one particular part that feels like it's not so smooth. And this is the most important movement you can make for your shoulders, really. Nothing fancy. This is the basic, and this is the lifesaver. And you really don't need to do it very long, it's just a couple of circles like this. As long as you feel that it's going fluid, smoothly, then that's enough. It's nice to have a little break and feel into that sensation, the difference in how is that right shoulder after you simply moved it through its maximum range of motion, as opposed to the left shoulder that you haven't moved yet. And then you do exactly the same on the other shoulder. And obviously, it might feel very different. So you don't go straight for the circles, always do one movement at a time to begin with. The lifting and the releasing. Checking, is there anything else that helps you with that movement? Is it really the shoulder that is moving or the arm is helping you out? All of that matters. Once you've got that one, you go for downward movement. It's not the torso movement. It's just that depressing the shoulder, moving the shoulder downwards. And of course, you want to keep on breathing. And of course, you don't want any pain to appear. Now we have also forward. That's when the shoulders or the arm will move together with the shoulder because they're attached, but the movement comes from the shoulder as if this bone wanted to kiss this bone, the collarbone. So there's this moment of contraction, shortening in the front, and you might feel that the back at that time lengthens, and then you release it. It's important, that moment of release in between. And you go for the opposite movement. So going backwards, when the shoulder blade wants to touch your spine. So you reach it there and then you release it. Check that you're not doing it with your arm, with your elbow, that you're not twisting the torso when you do that. And it's not an up movement, as you can see, it only goes straight back. All right, once you've got all of this, you can start combining it into a full circle. Up, back, down, and forward. Without any rush, keeping the other shoulder and arm completely relaxed. And you'll see that, yes, of course, there will be some response from your torso, from your neck, potentially. And you don't really need to stiffen it, but you know that the whole movement begins with the shoulder. There might be some clicky cracky noises. That's perfectly fine. It totally doesn't matter. If you start experiencing pain anywhere, you can try going slower and maybe smaller. And that should make a difference. All right, and again, a moment to feel the difference between the right and the left shoulder. So this is the basic, and if you do only that, it's already great. For the second practice, you need access to the wall and quite a bit of space, depending on the length of your arm. So you're going to come very, very close to the wall so that you're actually touching the wall with your shoulder. And you want to have your arm in full contact with the wall all the time. And you're going to draw the circles, but this time with the whole arm. So it will be the back of the hand touching the wall as you're reaching forward and up on the diagonal and all the way up above the head. And now if you want to continue with a circle, your arm would have to rotate around its own axis so that you can move the arm back. And obviously this is the moment when your shoulder will move slightly away, but your rib cage is still touching. And then you go to the position when the arm is by your side. So forward, up, and all the time with maximum contact with the wall. And obviously, if you're already experiencing pain in the shoulders, so you started doing it, started taking care of your shoulders because they started hurting and not because you wanted to maintain them, then that might bring you quite a bit of pain. And in this case, you're going to the moment where you don't feel the pain. And each time you're gonna do it, you're kind of in a discomfort zone. but not yet the sharp pain that will tell you definitely no go. And that's how eventually you're gonna keep on increasing that range of movement. You can also change the direction and notice how it would be to go the other way around, and probably it's gonna feel quite different. And it might be surprisingly hard, that whole exercise. So if this feels like completely inaccessible for you to begin with, start with some distance from the wall. And that gives you much more room here. But make sure that you're really doing it from the shoulder, so there's not the whole torso together with the hips doing this movement, because then it's you're not actually doing much favor to the shoulder. You're moving your entire body, all right? And it might feel like a fatigue. It might feel like, oof, that's been like a tough workout, even though it was just a few circles like this. And that is all right. There's nothing wrong with giving a little bit of a challenge to the tissues. That's what will make them more resilient. So try how it's going to be on the other arm, and you might notice that that other side is very different, that this movement is more accessible to you, or just the other way around. So remember that the goal is here not to do by any cost that full circle, but to listen to your body. So if it tells you this is the maximum I'm gonna do today, you respect it and you don't go beyond that. But if it tells you, oh, it's a bit tiring, tiring is okay. You can do something tiring from time to time. That's the only way things can change for you, really. So a few circles going in one direction and a few circles going in the other direction, and you go slowly and you notice which are these moments when you kind of want to move away from the wall, or when it's becoming really hard, and those are the moments you want to actually slow down and linger there and notice what can you do to make it a little bit more flowing. So again, if you're already experiencing a lot of pain, tension, I would not go for this one to begin with. This is something that you would add on much later. So maybe after a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I hope that you really noticed a difference in how your shoulders feel after these simple movements. And if so, please don't forget to subscribe, to like this video. Nothing really works in isolation. It's not that you have a shoulder pain, so you should exercise your shoulder and everything will be fine, because you are an interconnected whole. So there might be many things that contribute to your issues with the shoulder. It could be a chronic tension in your jaw, it could be the rounded posture, and you should always look at this broader picture. So you might, for example, have a look at this series of the videos I have on the rounded shoulders, and maybe this is going to apply to you and make that whole situation even better. If you would like to go more in depth into why actually you're having this pain, like what is the root cause reason, you might want to sign up for my newsletter with kindness, and I will link that below in the description. I also have some free resources on my website, including a audio that you can listen to when you are actually experiencing pain, so that it does not feel so intense for you. So I will also link that in the description. I look forward to see you next time. And if you'd like to comment, ask me a question, give me some inspiration for the next video, please include it in the comments below. And have a lovely day and see you next time. Bye bye.